If I want to play college baseball, when should I contact college coaches and how should I do it? Today we're talking tips and advice for the recruiting process. And I have here with me Ethan Gavon of Keep Playing Baseball, which is a nonprofit organization that helps baseball players navigate this issue. And I'm Doug Bernier with Pro Baseball Insider. So Ethan, if I want to play college baseball, when should I contact college coaches and how should I do it?
So that's kind of like the $1,000,000 question, right? And again, people want a really simple answer, like when you hit this day of your junior year, you should contact college coaches. But there's I was listening to a podcast with Jerry Weinstein a couple years ago, and he said something that really resonated with me. He said, not all the fruit on the tree gets ripe at the same time, right? Perfect analogy for the recruiting process, because you have 4 years of high school. Some guys are going to be ready to reach out earlier. Some guys are going to get recruited, as underclassmen. The vast majority of high school players aren't going to be ready for getting evaluated by college coaches until, late junior year, summer between junior and senior year, maybe even senior year. I was on a panel discussion about recruiting the other day, and, one of the coaches D1 program said, late is great. We look for players late. There's this misconception that all the scholarship money is going to be gone by the time you get to senior year. So there's this huge rush to try and commit early and find a program early. But with the draft, and maybe not as much now as it's been reduced to 5 rounds, at least temporarily, but, there's so many moving parts. Recruiting is so fluid. Building a roster at the collegiate level is so fluid that, programs from every level, they're going to be looking for people late. Whether, it might even be the case where school hasn't been interested, they haven't had that need, but, their shortstop, it goes off late in the year and he gets drafted, and so he's gone. Their backup blows out his ACL, and now all of a sudden it's the summer before you're going to college, and they're the team that you've been interested in and hasn't expressed interest, now they're looking for you. So I think it's really important that people understand that you can't really look around and say, hey, he's committing now, or he's reaching out now, then I should too. It's really about, do you have the recruitable skill set, right? Does your skill set match the programs that you're reaching out to? Because what you're doing when you reach out to college coaches is they're not interested in having you say, hey, I'm Ethan, just wanted to say hi. When you email them, they're going to do their homework, and they're going to see, because keep in mind, they're getting emails from dozens of kids a day. So is this a guy that I need to follow up with? So are the skills on the video, do they look like the athleticism that I would recruit? Are the measurables there? Am I even recruiting that class yet, right? So there's so many things, but the biggest thing is just, are you reaching out at a time when, if they evaluate your skills video, if they look at your transcript, if they call your coach to come out to a game, is that what you want to be evaluated on, right? Like, are you striking when the iron is hot and you're ready to get recruited? Or are you just reaching out, throwing a bunch of Hail Marys? Because a lot of times that's a good way to get permanently crossed off, because this kid, he's not good enough for what we're looking for. So scratch that off. So I think it's hard to explain in a conversation like this. We have some really good articles on our website that kind of dive into, why timing is so important in the recruiting process and how to understand when the timing is right for you. Because the truth is that there's no easy answer, right? It's different for everyone, because development's happening at different times, physical maturity is happening at different times, and different levels of college baseball are recruiting at different times. So it's really hard to just peg one answer up there. So I'd just say, check out our website. We've got a ton of resources, and talk to people who are really familiar with college baseball to see, hey, can I reach out to this level that I'm interested in, and do my skills meet the standard of play for that level, that conference, that school?
I like how you said how you heard from Jerry Weinstein that fruit gets ripe at different times, right? And if we're not ripe at a certain time, our skills are not where we hopefully want them to be. And if we send our videos to college coaches and they evaluate us on that, that might not be, you know, we might not be ripe enough, right? We might not be ready for the program that we're
Exactly.
sending it to. So I think that's really good. Like, talk about the timing of it. I think that was really good. That's something I never even thought of before. I was thinking, like you said before, there'd be like almost one specific date. This time, turn it in, give it to the coaches and everything. But that makes perfect sense. Everyone matures or, you know, ripens at different times. So I think that was really
Now,
good.
now there is to kind of follow up on that. You know, there are important dates where college coaches can't write back to you if you're an underclassman, they can't respond. At every level's different. Again, I don't want to go through and say on this date D1, this date this, but you have to be aware of the date, the communication that's allowed at certain times in the recruiting process. So that's really important. And then the other part of your question that I missed is, social media is getting big. A lot of coaches are fine with getting DM, but when we talk to college coaches, still the number one way that they like to be contacted is with an email. And there's a really important way to write that email because, like I said, they're getting dozens of emails a day. They might not even be the ones looking through them. They may have an assistant looking through them and saying, "Hey, make sure they spelled my name right, or they personalized it, so this isn't just a blast mass email to a bunch of coaches. Make sure the university name is spelled right. Make sure it has their grad year so that I'm compliant if I respond. Video link." So again, we have a bunch of resources on our website about how to write a quality email, and that's still the best way. And then you can follow up on that with a second email if you don't hear back, or you can have a coach or a trusted resource, with connections or who understands college baseball, scout, high school coach, reach out and follow up for you if they think that you're a good fit for that program. So again, we break that down a lot in detail, and didn't want to cut you off, but did miss that important part of the answer.
No, that's great. So you have how to write emails and all the important dates, and you kind of stay current and all up to date. And all of that is all those resources you can find on your website.
Yeah. So our goal is if you were a great baseball player, you landed on Earth from Mars, and you knew nothing about the recruiting process, that you could literally find all the answers on our website. So there's not many things that we missed. If we have missed something, you have a question that you can't find the answer to, then shoot us an email. And if we don't have that resource already, we'll have it soon. We'll get it up there for you, because we're trying to give you a complete roadmap. We want to help you through every part of this. And again, it's all free right there on the website.
That's great. That's great. So now, what are college baseball coaches looking for in a player? I know, again, another broad question, but what are they looking for in a player?
No, I mean, these are the questions that everyone wants to know, right? Um, Everyone's looking for something slightly different, but there's obviously a lot of major commonalities. If they're looking for on the field, off the field, their team needs, their system fit. So there's a lot of factors that weigh in. The things that we hear carry the most weight is character, right? Are they a good person? Is this someone I want to bring into my program? I want to risk my job and my career on. Are they a good teammate? A lot of coaches will ask for grades and test scores before they'll even look at video, just because if you don't meet the criteria, you're not going to get in. They're looking for a lot of those catchphrases that nobody likes to hear but are really important: responsibility, accountability, initiative, ownership, work ethic, mindset, growth mindset. They want players who aren't scared to fail and who understand that, through perfecting their process, through hard work, they can continue to improve. So that's important. On the field, they're looking for tools, skills, physical strength and size, projectability, athleticism. So, these are all kind of vague concepts, but on our website, again, we have a bunch of quotes directly from college coaches at every level, kind of talking about exactly what they're looking for. It's kind of all encompassing. You have to meet the standard of play for their program. So if you do good roster research, if you take the time to watch some of their games, you're going to have a better understanding of what that on-field criteria looks like. Some of those physical characteristics, you can look for patterns. Like, I was a 5'9" right-handed pitcher, infielder, two-way guy, right? I threw mid-80s, maybe upper if it was really warm out and I was feeling really good. Like, I have no business emailing LSU and saying, hey, 5'9", right-handed pitcher, mid-80s, take a look. So really, the more specific you can get with your research, the more you can break down and understand coaches. And that's actually a really good way to go about the recruiting process. A lot of players want to tell coaches about them without thinking about what those coaches want to see. So if you flip that script a little bit, reverse engineer the recruiting process and think about it from the coach's perspective, what is this coach looking for? It's a really good way to go about the recruiting process. But those are some of the general things that they're looking for. A lot of intangibles, a lot of off the field stuff is going to be the difference maker. But of course, you got to meet that baseline level of skill or project to meet that at some point down the future.
Yeah, but again, I think it's important that you bring up that it's not only on the field stuff. I think sometimes as baseball players, as we're preparing, working on our skills, trying to get better, spending hours in the cage, it's so easy to just think that this whole college recruiting process is based solely on our on-field results or everything on field. And so I always find it very I don't know, comforting or whatever, but I think it's really nice to hear that it's about the entire person. It's about the whole package they're bringing into their campus, right? It's not just the on-field person. There's multiple, it's more than that. So I think that's really cool. How do I, as a player that wants to play college baseball, hopefully at the highest level possible, how do I get the proper exposure? Or do I need to go to showcases? Should I go to showcases? What's your take on that?